No. Okay, Mr. Wayman.
Okay.
So, if you could change one thing in Pod C, what would it be and why?
More light, more natural light. So specifically, it's too dark, and the current placement of sort of like power outlets is useless for students. They're all clustered in one spot. So they should have put the outlets in the ceiling and had drop-down outlets.
What is the biggest impact that Pod C has had on you?
It's loud.
Why? Because of classrooms and stuff? Is it too close?
Well, it's in the middle of all the classrooms, and the classrooms don't have enough insulation to allow whoever is using Pod C to be effective with their lesson, because they'll invariably be too loud, and then it'll affect the instruction that's going on in the other 3 classrooms that are touching it. So that usually means the teacher has to come out and say, be quiet, which then, like when I'm teaching out there, it kind of sucks, because if you have a lesson that you want kids to be engaged in, they tend to get loud.
Yeah. Okay.
So these
So,
acoustics are terrible.
what kind of learner do you think you are?
Kinesthetic.
Kinesthetic.
And auditory. Movement. Yeah.
And what?
And auditory.
Oh.
I just need you to be able to hear. I don't have to look at you. Sounds the same way.
Okay. And then, what kinds of things helps your kind of learning? So then, you have
Movement.
to hold something, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, being able to hold, manipulate, move. A lot of movement.
So how do you think that would we could incorporate that to Pod C? Like something that would help your learning, that where you can move.
Well, Pod C already, that is the one thing it is set up for, is it allows movement because it's an open
Awesome.
space. So it's fine for movement.
So you like the space then?
Yeah, the space is
Okay.
fine. Like the area, yeah, they have a nice open space is fine. It works well. The one thing it could use is multiple focal points, because right now it doesn't really have that. It has a focal point, which means all movement has to center around that point, as opposed to being able to be free to move in different directions. And he's done that by creating the trifold boards. So if you had multiple of those, you could have multiple points.
Yeah. Okay. How often do you use Pod C?
I never use it now.
Never.
But that's not because I don't want to. That's because they're already, it's.
Because
we
your
don't-
classroom is already there.
Yeah, well, because there's, all space is being used in the school. So Pod C is already being used. So it's not available to be used by the other teachers.
Do you wish it was better organized so that you could use it?
Well, I did use it. Like, I used it a lot. Like,
Okay.
last year and the year before that, and before we got impacted. I was able to use it a lot more. I would have activities out there, kids would go out there.
Okay. What do you normally do in Pod C? I think that's kind of the same.
Usually it's an activity that requires a lot of movement. So we might do oral activities. Or some sort of drill that incorporates physical and visual movement. Because then you don't have the tables and the chairs and anything.
Okay. No.
Games sometimes. Also just change of scenery. It's fun to play blind man out there.
And games. Okay. What do you like about Pod C right now? The space and the movement? That it's like very flexible?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry, they can look. How would you fix the issue of like not being able to have enough space in there?
So, one thing that I said would be really useful is if they enclosed these courtyards.
So that we couldn't go out there.
So that you could go out there.
Oh, that we could go out there.
Yeah, if you put a glass, like a skylight-based roof over the top, and then enclose that side with glass walls, and you can even have venting on top. Then
So we could use this, like,
that during the
outside?
winter because it wouldn't be so cold, and you'd have all the natural
Would
lighting.
you keep like the grass and stuff, or like so?
Yeah,
could be,
if
like,
you have
classroom
glass,
outside?
you can keep the grass because
Yeah.
the grass will grow. But I actually was a big fan of taking the grass out because they don't do anything with it anyway.
That's true.
Either you make it all grass or you make it all like something that you could actually use. Because they got like
Oh,
a
that's a
half
good
dead
idea.
tree out there that like
Yeah.
you can't even
One
sit
tree.
under. You're like, what are you gonna do? Sit there and melt? Everyone's always next to the building because that's where the shade is when it's hot outside. So it's not useful. Like there's no point in putting things if they don't actually serve a use.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I actually would like it to be more of a green space, but it's not designed that way.
Yeah.
It's kind of half-assed design.
Because I feel like if they would have, like, they should have added more trees and like that actually have leaves though, so that, like, we could sit out under them
Yeah.
and like study and stuff.
Well,
like
what
that.
you would so if you've ever seen an actual like, you see this a lot in cloisters, which is like a church,
Yeah.
and also things. Is there's these pavers that you would put down? They're actually hollow, and grass goes between them, and so it creates a natural looking. But because it's got pavers, you can
Yeah.
walk on it.
Oh, okay, yeah, I think
Yeah,
I've seen
and
that.
so those are a lot. So that whole area could be that,
Yeah.
and then you'd have like a bigger tree, like you said, like a big tree, but underneath the tree, build a planter box, like a little bench seating, so people could actually sit, not sit on the ground, but sit under the tree. And so what you'd have to do is basically spend, I don't know, $1,000 and buy an actual tree that's bigger than that, and then set up the soil so that it will grow. That I think would make that that space so much more useful. And then you'd actually
That's true. I hadn't even thought about that.
then it
That's a
actually
really
makes
good
this space more useful.
Yeah, and then because it's like all of this, so it's like, and then how you said about the classrooms, how they're too close out there, you can't really like hear because it's all
No.
brick, so it's like it'd be
The
perfect.
insulation's better
Mhm.
because the insulation's not as good inside. Once you did that, you could always install speakers, outdoor speakers that would plug in if you needed to have
Outdoor speakers. Oh, and like a screen and stuff like how we have here.
pull down. It'd be on this wall here.
Yeah.
Well, you don't need a screen.
Oh, you
just
can
have
just
to
use
paint
a
white. You just have to paint a white
Yeah.
square.
Oh, and just have like the projector, right? Basically.
You could be mobile.
Here, Tomas, open that.
Can I have one?
No.
Yeah.
Poetry. Okay, I think that's all. That was good though. I like the idea of that outside. We hadn't even thought about that. It's gonna be good. All right, Ramon, are you ready? Thank you, Mr. Wayman. Oh, is there anything you would like to add?
Pod season will change.
Oh, it is, huh?
And we're gonna make the change.
Yes, it
I tell you to do that.
Yeah,
Here's the
that's a
box
good
to do that.
idea. That's really good. How would you like to have us outside?
No.
No? But if it was like all covered and like
Covered?
yeah.
That'd be cool.
Like a conservatory. Think of it like an arboretum.
And it had like screens
That'd be pretty
and
cool.
speakers, yeah.
Then you do it, right?
Maybe. I might use it sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't do it all the time, but it'd be
But I
nice
feel
to
like
have it.
students
It'd be nice to have the
yeah.
option.
Yeah.
Space.
Because
And then-
and the biggest thing is that I like is that it's more. People
Yeah.
out there, I don't hear them. I hear everybody in Pod C.
Right.
Because
It's so
and mainly
close.
because it's an insulation issue. It's not. They just didn't put enough insulation between the
Yeah.
classrooms in that area.
Yeah, I remember last year Miss Mattel's class because when we had Miss Mattel's class there,
Yeah,
like
she's
it was
always
so
coming out to
hard.
tell me to
Yeah, we were like, oh my gosh, I cannot hear anything. Okay, so isolation. Okay. I think
Cool.
we got that.
That's one thing. I mean, if it's small changes, is acoustic. Just
Acoustic.
think about fixing the acoustics. You could probably use what's there. You have to change where the speakers are mounted. You have to change the backing. So when I don't know if when you get a home someday, you're gonna realize when you want like surround sound.
Yeah.
I'm subs in my truck.
Yeah, but that's okay. So fair enough. But like you want all that sound to go in one direction. You don't want it to just rattle through everything. So when you actually install stereo systems, you actually have a backing. So my speaker is here. There's a cone that goes behind in the wall, so it forces all the sound back out. That's why you have the holes in the bottom. I don't want the sound going through the wall.
Yeah.
And that's how those are mounted. So the sound, when you turn
Yeah,
those
it's just
speakers on,
coming out.
I'm getting I'm getting less, but I can hear everything out of those speakers as much as everybody that hears it forward.
Because they're on this one.
Yeah, it's a waste of sound. You want to force all that sound forward, which also
Mhm.
then you don't have to turn it up as loud because you're getting more efficiency out of your sound. Whoever built this place sucked.
And then do you see where the soccer field is? I don't like that. Like, I don't know, I just don't
It's
like
not
how
a soccer field.
No, it's a green space.
It's just a field.
It's just a field, yeah.
Which one?
Our
The one
soccer
in-
field, it's just
Yeah.
a field.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so it wasn't. Oh, that makes sense.
Well, I mean, it was built just as a field. I mean, it's big enough for soccer, but
Yeah.
it's not.
Oh, it wasn't supposed to be for soccer then?
It's just a
Or-
field for people to
Oh.
go out and do PE in and stuff and everything. And it's too, again, it's too small for the number of students and the number of
Mhm.
activities that we do on it.
So what about if we changed like the wall?
Yeah. So,
Made it
so one
maybe-
thing you'll see, like in old brick buildings and stuff, because brick actually, sound bounces off of it, so it's terrible for acoustics.
Mhm.
So what they'll do is they'll put in baffling,
Yeah.
which is, you'll see this a lot in music studios, but really, I mean, cardboard does this. So here's a flat surface, sound's gonna hit it and bounce back off, you don't want it to do that. So what you do is you actually put two pieces of cardboard like this at an angle, just against the wall. And just by doing that, first of all, the cardboard's a softer material, so it's gonna absorb some of the sound,
Yeah.
but it also changes the direction of the sound, so it's not hitting the wall flat and bouncing back out.
Mhm.
So just by adding that,
Yeah.
you, on a wall, you
Is that why
create,
they had like those padding things like during?
it's exactly why they have those padding things.
Oh, that's cool.
And if you went to like also Motley, if you look up, when you look
Mhm.
at the way that's built, there are actually just like plates upon plates
Yeah,
of these
I
things
see
hanging.
that.
It looks aesthetic,
Yeah.
but it actually serves the purpose of acoustics because that's
Oh.
changing where the sound is hitting,
Mhm.
so it controls the sound.
Oh, okay, so. Okay, I think that's all. Alright, are you good, Ramon?
Yeah, I'm good.
Thank you, Mr. Wayman.